So the next step is really about the salespeople that we work with. And what I found with those people is they all had the right intention. Most of them really wanted to do a great job for their people that they were serving. They wanted to help them purchase the things that were good for them. They weren't likely to use a slimy sales technique that wasn't going to feel right for them on their sales client. In fact, we found that the integrity was so important to their success that they had to have a system that matched 100% of the time, that made sense to them in the sales process, that they could actually believe that they could do it. If they didn't believe that it was the right thing to do, no matter if the sales technique that they were trained on did one thing or another, if they didn't believe it was the right thing to do, they weren't going to use it. Bottom line. So integrity was absolutely huge for our participants in our studies. And as a salesperson, or maybe just as a business owner, you know as well as I do that you're not going to tell somebody something you don't believe in yourself. We've all heard it the same way. I have to believe in the product before I can sell it. If I really believe in the product, I'm an advocate of the product. So it's easy for me to actually tell you about how great it is in my life because it works. Now think about it. If you were really sick and you tried all kinds of doctors and you'd done all kinds of different things, and then you bumped into somebody who had a different strategy and they turned around and they made something happen in your life where your health improved and you were well and you were feeling dynamic, you're going to be an advocate for that individual. And that's an exceptional thing to think about. And that's exactly what we want for our clients. And so as a salesperson, you got to do the exact same thing to help that through. And if you're not in integrity with yourself, you're going to put up a lot of internal resistance and you're not going to move through the sales process with that client. You're only going to do what's feeling right and what you know to be right. Now we have a few things about that we've learned as well. We found that most of our salespeople don't want to push a client. And they know that they don't like to be pushed in the sales process from another person that's a salesperson when they're the buyer, and they hate that feeling, so they don't want to do it to their other client. That creates problems, of course. And so we've figured this whole thing out where it's not really talking about so much the pushing as it is the building of the tension, which I'll explain a lot more when I'm talking to you about buyers. But for salespeople, they got to know that they want to have something that works. They want to make sure that it's in integrity with what they believe. It has to be easy so that you can think about it. If it's got to be something that's so complicated that you literally have to study it for 20 years, or you have to be like ninja, and you have to be able to do all kinds of things, break bricks with your head to try and do the sales process, it's not going to happen. Because it's a very fluid thing that we're working on with our clients. And so it's extremely difficult to turn around and make it complicated. If it's complicated, you're going to get it all messed up. So you don't want to do that either. So salespeople, I know what you're needing. I understand that. I've been there, done that. And the thing that's important is that, you got to have a sales process that's there. And that's what we're talking about. When we get the clients that we've got right now, that get into a place where we show them what we're doing that really matches their integrity, it's effortless and easy. Matter of fact, it's so interesting because one of the things that happens is most sales training programs, the kind you go and you take the session for a couple days or whatever, you enroll, and maybe you take in 12 weekly sessions. But what usually happens is when you're using the system and you're in the system itself, your sales will improve. You use that 1 or 2 points, you'll improve. But when you get back to the office, it goes up on the shelf and it stays there. And that's just not going to work. So what happens is we always see that little bump in people's performance, and then they level back to where they were before. That's been something that's been plaguing the sales industry forever and a day. What we've noticed with our sales program is the exact opposite. We get people to a good level of accomplishment in the program, and then organically it continues on for the next 3 to 6 months until they finally get it right to the tail end. That's super exciting. Well, we're going to talk about that in the way that I'm going to describe in our last video about how we make our system work. Because you know what? If it's going to be something that's so easy to use, you're going to use it, and especially if it's working and you can remember it, it's wonderful. And so we're going to teach you how that works.